Several big games in Week 7. It's time for my 5 takeaways from Week 7. And as good as this weekend was, as many big games as we had, really didn't have many games that came down to the wire. That were really close games that came down to the last play. We're missing those types of games, which we've had so many of this season. So that was a little bit disappointing, but still, it was a fun weekend. And again, a lot of big games. So let's get into the takeaways. Starting with number 1, Indiana. I think we have to start here. Indiana is legit. This is a team not only that can make the college football playoff, this is a team that could possibly win the national championship. I mean, this is a really good football team. For them to go on the road and beat Oregon the way they did, I was surprised. I thought they had a chance in this game. You know, it was on the upset alert video last week, but I really thought Oregon would take care of business here. And just talking about this game, how impressive Indiana was, yeah, but big picture, Indiana is basically a lock for the college football playoff. I mean, I don't see any way, barring some major injuries, I don't see any way they don't make the playoff, especially when you look at Penn State. Their only other game that it could be a challenge, you thought preseason. Now Drew Aller is out, and I hate that injury. You know, feel terrible for him. But for Indiana's sake, I mean, they should, even with Drew Aller playing, the way Penn State's been playing football, I think Indiana probably wins that game anyway. But now you feel like that game's almost a guaranteed win. And you don't really see any other, you know, maybe they trip up somewhere and lose a game, but 11-1, that's going to get them in the college football playoff. I think with a win over Oregon, even 10-2 probably gets them in with the way the SEC is looking and the parity over there. You're going to have probably a bunch of 3-loss teams like we had last year. So yeah, Indiana, very impressive by far. This was the story of the weekend. And again, moving forward, big picture, Indiana's going to be in the college football playoff. And I think they might make some noise this year. It's not just going to be getting there. I think they might win a game or two. And who knows, they might get a first-round bye, so they don't even have to win as many games. Again, Indiana's for real. This team, they've finally gotten to that point where, you know, last year they proved that they had taken this team, Kirk Cinetti had taken this team to the next level, but they weren't quite on that level that could beat the elite teams. Now they've proven that they can do it, and yeah, very impressed with Indiana. So that was a big takeaway. Number 2 takeaway, I think Alabama and Texas A&M are the teams to beat in the SEC. Texas A&M continues to impress me. One thing to keep in mind, though, they have won all these games in the SEC at home. They've had 3 straight home games. So keep that in mind. They do have some tough road tests coming up. I don't think they run the table and go undefeated, although I do think they have looked like the best team in this conference. They're doing it on both sides of the ball. The defense is really good. Marcel Reed, we've talked about how much better he has played. They've got a great run game. The offensive line's good. I mean, there really is no big weakness on this Texas A&M team. Very impressed with them against Florida. Florida came out, you know, firing. They scored on that first drive, looked pretty good. And this is a Florida team that has proven that they are still a good quality football team. They showed that when they beat Texas. And if you take out the turnovers against LSU, they maybe win that game. If you take all of them out, they probably do win that game. So, yeah, Texas A&M, really impressive to me. And then there's Alabama going on the road, beating Missouri. I thought there was a real shot they lose this game. Now, Missouri did have some opportunities late. Bo Pribula with a couple of bad interceptions. I think both of those were in the fourth quarter. Of course, that one at the end of the game. So Missouri had their chances, but I tell you what, this Alabama team, Ty Simpson is, I mean, it's like Tom Brady back there. I mean, the way he dissects these defenses, really impressed with him. Uses his legs when he has to. I think, though, what we're not giving enough credit to with this Alabama team is their offensive line. When Ty Simpson has time to throw, he is going to find an open receiver. I mean, it's almost guaranteed. The only way you can slow them down is to get pressure, and teams just haven't really been able to do that a whole lot because of this offensive line. And, you know, with this offense for Alabama, it's going to be tough to stop them. You're going to have to either be really creative with your blitzes, confuse them, or you're going to have to win with your defensive line. And I don't know if there's a team in the SEC that can do that. So Alabama, very impressive. Ty Simpson continues to get better and better. The run game is getting better. The defense continues to play well. I think these are the 2 teams that are the best teams in the SEC. And I think they're probably on a collision course to get to the SEC championship, or to meet in the SEC championship. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but just across the SEC, you know, LSU, they took care of business against South Carolina. Tennessee, closer than I thought, but they take care of Arkansas. But it's the Auburn-Georgia game. I can't just leave this out. The play on the goal line to end the half. I would love to know your thoughts if you watched that game. I thought it was a touchdown. I thought there were some other very questionable calls in this game. Obviously, the timeout with Kirby Smart, you have to just laugh. At that point, I was just laughing at how bad that was. It didn't matter because they wound up missing a field goal anyways. But there were some other calls in this game that were very, very questionable. And I don't know if I've ever seen a game like that. Like, Auburn dominated until that play at the goal line, and then Georgia completely dominated after that point. That was really interesting. So with Georgia, back to my point here in terms of teams to beat, the way Georgia plays in the second half of these games, if they could just play like that for 4 quarters, then I think Georgia becomes potentially the team to beat. But we just have not seen it because I don't know what the deal is with them. They start off slow every game. If they could ever put it together, then I think you've got Alabama, Texas A&M, and Georgia. Those 3 teams, to me, look like the best teams in this conference. But again, Georgia has not been able to do that for 4 quarters, and we'll wait and see if they are able to moving forward. But yeah, Bama, Texas A&M, they've been really impressive to me so far. All right, and how about, and just really quickly while we're talking about Alabama, how about Florida State losing 3 straight ACC conference games after they beat Alabama in week 1? It's been a wacky season for sure. All right, let's go to number 3. Ohio State has a real shot to repeat. I don't think I've really talked about them a whole lot since the Texas game because they haven't played great competition, but I wanted to at least acknowledge them this week because of what they're doing. The defense for Ohio State, I think this is the best defense in the country. Matt Patricia coming in there, he is the complexity of this defense and what they've been able to do to opposing quarterbacks. It's unreal. I mean, Ohio State's defense is really, really good. And you look at the offense just continuing to make strides, get better and better and better. Julian Sand getting more and more confidence. They're putting more on him. They've got the talent around him. The run game continues to improve. This Ohio State team, I think right now might be the best team in the country, and they have a real shot to repeat. I know it's really tough to go back to back, and we've never seen a team do it in the 12-team playoff era because this is just the second year. But Ohio State might do it. This team is really, really good, and I just wanted to acknowledge them and acknowledge this, especially this defense, to go on the road and do what they did to Illinois. Very, very impressive. Let's go to number 4 now. I think Texas Tech and Utah rematch is looking more and more likely when you look at the Big 12. Utah beating Arizona State gives them, a nice. They get the tiebreaker over Arizona State. So if it comes down to that, we see TCU losing to Kansas State. So I thought that outside of Texas Tech, I thought Arizona State and TCU might be those teams that could get to the Big 12 championship. And maybe Utah was there, but I wasn't sure. Now it's feeling more and more like Utah has a really good shot. Texas Tech's going to be there. Like, this Texas Tech team is legit, just like Indiana. I think Texas Tech will be in the college football playoff, and I think they might win a playoff game. I think this team is that good. Very impressed with them this weekend. But on the other side, again, it looks like Utah might be that team that they meet in the Big 12 championship. It's a long ways to go. Things could still happen. But as of right now, that's kind of the way I see the Big 12 playing out. Again, I think Texas Tech basically is a lock. And then Utah, probably that front runner. Who knows? Maybe another team emerges like a Baylor or something. You never know. The Big 12 usually is pretty chaotic. So I'm not going to count anything out. But Utah does appear to be that second team. And then finally, our final takeaway, Penn State. This is the biggest disappointment I can remember. I was trying to just think about teams that I had high hopes for, and I just can't think of any. I know the season's, it's early, but with Drew Aller going down, and again, I feel horrible for him. Hate that he had that injury. But with him going down, like this team may not make a bowl game. At best, when you look at their schedule, at best, they're probably going to go 6-6, but could very easily go 5-7. Not even make a bowl game. And this is a team that along with many other people, that we picked this team to win the national championship this year. And you guys know my track record. 6 out of the last 9 years, I've correctly predicted the national champion in the preseason. So I've been pretty good at finding that team. And I really thought Penn State was that team this year. And I was wrong. And I don't know why. I don't know why this is happening. When you look at everything that they brought back, the talent that's on this roster, I don't have an answer for it. Maybe James Franklin is just not a good coach. But all these 10-2 seasons, like, they've never done this before with this kind of roster, this kind of team. They've never been this bad. So I don't understand it. I don't know. James Franklin may lose his job. I think a lot of fans were, because he couldn't win the big games, were already ready for him to go. And now they might have a real reason to fire him. I don't know what the buyout is and all that. But, it's just really disappointing to watch this Penn State team. Clemson obviously has been a disappointment. Texas has been a disappointment. Several of the top teams have been. But how about Texas? I didn't even mention them. They get the big win over Oklahoma this weekend. Now, Arch Manning didn't look great in that game, but he looked better, and I think he is getting better. And I think Texas could be a dangerous team down the stretch as well. And I think Clemson has kind of found something. Now they're getting better. But Penn State, like there's not much hope for this team. This is going to be a very disappointing season. And I'd love to know in the comments what team, like, am I forgetting a team? Was there another team that had really, really high hopes and they maybe didn't even make a bowl game, or they had a really bad season? Because I can't think of anyone that would be a bigger disappointment than Penn State, at least in the last, in the playoff era. I know there were teams back in the day. I'm sure there were plenty of times we had disappointments, but in the last 10 years or so, or in the playoff era, however you want to look at it, I just can't think of a team that has been a bigger disappointment. So yeah, Penn State losing to two of the worst teams in the Big Ten. This has been a bad start for them. Can they fix it? I don't think so, especially without Drew Aller. Maybe the backup's going to come in there and play great. Who knows? But Penn State was a huge disappointment this year so far. And I think they're out of the college football playoff race. I don't see any way they get in now. A team, again, that I picked to win the national championship. But it wasn't just me. Like I said, a lot of people picked them to win it all. And it's not going to happen. So, again, give me your takeaways from Week 7. We are halfway through the season. It's going to be a fun second half. I think there's still a lot of unknown with these teams. I don't think we're starting to kind of figure it out, but I think there are still some teams they're going to jump up in that national conversation, in that top 10, that maybe we don't see right now. And I think some of those teams that are up near the top are going to fall off. So which teams will it be? We'll find out here in the second half of the season. Again, give me your thoughts on Week 7 down in the comments below.